Yes.
You ready, Freddie?
Yes.
Let's see. How do we live in some? Good morning.
Good morning.
Hear me? First, I want to introduce myself. I think I know everybody, but everybody might not know me. My name is Sonia Pachecka, and I've been in this church since I was about 10 years old, which is just like yesterday. I'm just, it's yesterday. He's lying. He's telling stories because I'm not an elder yet. I am the Family Ministries and Children's Ministries coordinator here at the church. And I also teach the Sunday school class in the back, children up to 12. And I also have grandchildren here that are mostly my students. But we're over the programs and stuff that go on here in the church. But anyway, and I'm also a full-blood member of the Comanche Nation. I think most of you know that my Comanche grandchildren, my sister, Linda, I think she's back there. I can't see without my eyes, I'm sorry. Yeah, she's in the very back. And I have another sister, Joni, who usually comes and sits on that side. Y'all know her. And I have another beautiful sister, Julia, Nancy, who passed on a few years ago. But y'all know her as well. So, anyway, I want to get started. I know earlier my granddaughter Tina read the scripture about John 3, 1 through 17. I want to kind of use that as my basis a little bit. I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about, I will share a little bit about the Bible women, real life women, and a little bit of our church women. And I'm trying not to be too long because I know Pastor said, keep it short, sweet, to the point, and be done. So that's what I'm trying to do. And if anybody ever talks to me, they know that's real hard for me to do. Okay. So during that Bible verse, Nicodemus stated that Jesus having the ability, I'm kind of getting over the pneumonia as well. And I was telling Rudy this morning, I don't have the coronavirus because I haven't been to China, but I just look Chinese. I don't know. I haven't been there. But Nicodemus had stated that Jesus having the ability to perform miracles and healing was because he was of God and had God with him. Jesus replied that a man cannot see the kingdom of God unless he is born again. Nicodemus, thinking as a human, as man, questions Jesus and says, born again, thinking of it literally as being birthed through a woman, was confused. And Jesus explained that to be born again of the Spirit and to believe in what is not seen is true and dedicated faith, which is basically what we do in this church. To believe in something that you don't see is actually more deep and more important and more dedicated than something you see. And a lot of people that you see every day and you talk to every day, they have to see that this is a book. This is a book of miracles. And a lot of people, you can tell them, you know what, today I had a book of miracles in my hand. And they know you. And they'll say, well, I know that guy Joe, and he wouldn't lie to me. I believe him. I don't see it, but I believe it. But they'll say, oh no, I have to see that he had that book in his hand before I believe him. Because they're literal people, and they don't see that. But what God is saying, that to believe something that you don't see, which is to believe that Jesus died for us and that God, the Holy Spirit, is in you and Jesus has salvation and that we're all going to heaven, we believe, is so deep and so dedicated that that's more important than saying that you saw it with your own eyes. To have that kind of true belief and faith is something that is so deep that, my gosh, that's kind of like a love. It's kind of like a love. You know that you can't see it. You can see acts of it, but you can feel it. and you can believe it, and it's kind of like what I'm talking about today about women. Because some women and men, they can love people and things, earthly things, to a fault. And you guys, I mean, I've done it. I've done that too. Some people love some people. That's not good for them. Some people love people and they get used by it. Some people should love church more. They should love God more than they do earthly things. And they don't. They put emphasis on things that are physical, you know. Like I used to tell people, you're not going to haul up a U-Haul, I'll take it with you. So it wasn't until I really got older that I really realized the validity of that. So now that I'm getting older, I start actually thinking about, well, who's going to get that? Because I have 3 sons. And you think the difference between the boys and the girls, girls might look at something a little bit and kind of go through it and think, well, you know, cousin so-and-so might like that, or so-and-so. My boys, they're going to load up that pickup truck and say, okay, where's that big old dumpster? Just dump this and dump. Especially my culture stuff. So right now I'm thinking about, okay, so-and-so gets this, Tina gets this, so-and-so gets it, you know. I'm already thinking, who's going to appreciate it? If I don't care about it, don't worry about it, because they're going to dump it in the trash. But I'm already thinking that way. And I may be thinking wrong, because my boys may think, well, I'll give this to the kids, you know. But I'm looking at the way they are since I raised them, how they do things. Well, put in trash. Here, Grandma, put this in trash. That's the way I'm thinking. And they may not, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But anyway, what I'm saying about in the Bible, the stories that I wanted to talk about really quick, one of them is Queen Esther. Everybody knows the story of Queen Esther and how her plight and what she did to become queen was for her people, her family, and for those people that she helped. You know, her uncle and the people in the Bible that she did a lot of that in the Bible for wasn't for herself. Well, some of it might have been for herself, but she wanted to do it to save her people. A lot of it. I mean, we do a lot of things for our kids, our families, and one specific thing I wanted to say about her before I move on to somebody else was, I can understand how some women sometimes make decisions that don't even affect, I mean, they might affect more than just themselves. And we think about these decisions, and yeah, sometimes we don't make good ones, myself included especially. I'm the queen of probably bad decisions. But my kids are grown. Thank God they all grew up in one piece. But right after I divorced, I was probably 35, 36. And I never did it again. I'm too much of a chicken. Been divorced 27 years. And did eventually become friends with my ex-husband. Actually work for him now during the day, which is a long story. We'll have to go over that another time. But somebody had told me the other day that, y'all get along so well, you don't need to get married again. I said, now which one of us do you want to go to prison? Me or him? Because one of us will be dead, and the other one will be in prison. So that would not be good. But anyway, so, see, I had a senior moment. What was I talking about? Anyway, I really honestly forgot what I was talking about. I'm serious.
Esther.
About what?
Esther.
About Pastor.
Esther.
Oh, Esther. No, I was moving on from Esther. I'm done with Esther. I forgot. I completely forgot. Okay. Well, let me move on to my next woman, and maybe it'll come to me. Huh?
That's where you were.
Okay. My next, talking about my, oh, no, I was telling you about this when I got divorced. Oh, my God, isn't that awful? Pastor, you duped me about telling me an elder. Stop. See, that's why I don't like him. My brother. Can you divorce a brother? I don't know. I'm checking on that. Anyway, when I got divorced, there was a really nice gentleman I met at, and this is funny, y'all don't laugh. I went to this place because people knew me when I was a lot bigger. I was about 100 pounds bigger when I was younger, a little younger. And I went to this place, it was called POS, People of Size. And I'm not kidding, there were men this skinny that liked big women, and I was so shocked. They were that skinny. They were that skinny, I'm not kidding. And they liked women that were this big. I'm not kidding. But anyway, I went to this thing, and I was probably the smallest one there. But anyway, I met this gentleman who was really, really, really nice. He was a mortician. And he drove a Mercedes-Benz, and he wasn't a godly man at all. But he invited me and took me out a couple times. Well, my kids, he came to my house. I lived up the street here. He came to my house and took me out to dinner a couple times. My boys loved the fact that he had a Mercedes-Benz. He took them around the block. They were teenagers. He took them around the block 2 or 3 times. They loved this man. I didn't know why. I couldn't see it. He was very, he liked things. He was a godly man at all. So it wouldn't have gone anywhere. But I kept seeing this gentleman for my kids. They loved him. Every time he came, they brought him things, stuff, and what'd you bring this? What'd you bring this? And his name was Tim Stone. I remember that. I don't remember much else. And the Mercedes-Benz, but that was his name. And every time that he'd come to the door, he'd have arms full of stuff for the boys. You know, cars with the motors where you could run them down the thingy, and he didn't have any kids, never been married. He had a bunch of stuff, 2 or 3 different cars. So I continued to see this gentleman for my boys. They loved this guy because he could give them stuff. They were young teenagers. And I could kind of see how women would make decisions for their children. There was nothing there for me. I would never have to work. I could have finished school back then. But that would not have been the life with a person that didn't have God. He had things. And I couldn't go farther with that. Of course, it broke my kid's heart when I never saw him again. And eventually, he did eventually call me after that, sometime after that, but nothing's changed. He's still never married. He's an older gentleman now, but he's still into things and has a lot of things, but he's not changed any. I asked him, I said, so do you belong to a church or anything? Oh, no, ain't got time for that. I'm flying here and there, and blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, well, it's good talking to you. I'll pray for you. It's kind of how we left it. But I can see that. And in doing that, my next story of talking about that is Naomi and Ruth. If y'all don't know the story of Naomi and Ruth, it's a mother-in-law, a daughter-in-law, and a mother. She had a commitment to her mother-in-law that she unselfishly gave up her people and her life to go with her mother-in-law to her people and take care of her. The husbands have died, and she went with her mother and her mother-in-law's people and continued to go with her to take care of her, because that is now her people and her mother and her people to be with her, to take care of her. That to me was a commitment, a strong commitment, because she could have went and got married again. She was young enough, and got married again in her own people and had baby or whatever she was going to do, but didn't. She had a commitment to her because of her husband and the lady she'd already been with. And that to me is a strong, strong woman. You know, those two people in the Bible, and I know if I'd have kept going further, I could have come up with a lot more strong women in the Bible. There are many, many, many women that are not named in the Bible. We've done a study on that. Many, many women, you know, like the Marys and the ones at Jesus' feet and the ones that were in there. And to come to our Bible study, you guys need to come. We're here on Wednesdays, and it's just, I mean, even if you're a lay speaker or a pastor, you can always learn something from the Bible. You're the ones that real probably would make the best students, because I learn something every time, and I'm not in any way a teacher. I teach my kids, and they learn something every time. If I don't feel like I teach them something every Sunday, then I'm not a good teacher. But they learn something every time, and they are learning. As little as they are, they're learning. But I want to thank God for the mothers and the women in my life that kept us girls, my sisters and I, and my cousins, grounded. Because if you've ever known any Native women, which I know most of you do have in your lives, they keep you from getting big-headed. They do. Because they bring you, if you start beginning to get there, they bring you back to earth real quick. Real quick. And we talked about, we wanted to kind of focus on some of the some of the women in our lives that, you know, that we wanted to focus this month on. For myself, as a child, you know, of course, my mother, And I grew up in the Sotai Memorial Church in Cache, Oklahoma when I was a little girl before I started school. My grandma, my kaku, Lucy Chapaghetti, my Aunt Laverna Hova, but she was Chapaghetti first. And then Aunt Roxy Sotai, which is Reverend Sotai's wife. She introduced me actually to the United Methodist Women. And then, of course, when we came to Dallas, I was about 5 or 6. We joined the church over here on Ewing. And then upon that part, I've known Eve Williams for that long. And then, of course, mentioning Eve for the knowledge of our history of this church and our legacy and our culture in our church. And then the strong Native women in this church, even no matter where it was, like Anita Black Bear, Sandra's mom, and Patsy Tejano, Juanita Otto, and I think Mr. Otto was here the other day, his mom, Gloria Tucrow, Dorothy Schramm, and angels like Marie Davis and Josephine Gomez that have passed on, if any of you are lucky enough to know these angels. And I always said to myself, I know in my life I will never be financially rich. Anybody knows me, I have a little $700 paid off truck. I will never be financially rich because I am so blessed in other ways. I have 3 grown sons, 9 grandchildren. They're all healthy. You can't buy health. You can't buy that. Let's see. And I have given, God's blessed me in every single way. And in closing, I wanted to pay homage, and if I get through this part, I'm good, to 2 of those women, the strongest of the strong women who were in this church. And one of them, to me, the strongest of the strong women that I know of are women who have gone on to heaven, but who went there by way of cancer. One is my sister Nancy. She lost her battle a few years ago, and most recently it's my sister Verna. And you never know how strong you are until you have to say, no more. I'm done. I don't want any more treatment. I'm done. I've had enough. And that's what our sister had to do. We prayed for her. And God blessed her with letting her into heaven. We miss her. We're selfish that way. We miss her here on earth. We pray for her family. Her husband loved her very, very much. If anyone could ever find love like that in a lifetime, which I've already given up, I'll never find, and that's okay, because God's blessed me in so many other ways in my life that I know that there's other things out there for me, but I wanted to say that I love you all, and that one of the next person that's coming up to speak is actually one of those strong women here in our church. She's been my mentor. She taught me how to pray when I didn't know how. And I'm very humble in this church. And I appreciate you guys giving me all that you give me to handle, for letting me take care of your kids, and for letting me work for you. Because I'm a worker bee. You can ask Pastor. I always tell him I like to be behind the scenes and be busy because y'all don't know what I'm doing. But anyway, thank you for everything, and of course for Rudy for giving me the support to let me do family ministries, because they did such a good job at it. I always feel like I'm failing when I do something because I don't do it as good as him and Josephine did. And that's one reason I can't wait to get to heaven, to see Josephine and Nancy and all the great people that have gone on before me. But here's Adriana, my sister, and I love you all very much. Thank you.